All right, let's dive in. Today, we're digging into one of the most explosive stories in technology right now, the incredible supercycle happening in the semiconductor world. It's nothing short of a gold rush for AI memory.
Every single day we hear about the mind-blowing things AI is doing, right? It's writing music, discovering new medicines, it's powering cars. It's literally creating new industries out of thin air. It really feels like the future is being built right before our eyes by this amazing software.
But here's the thing that's so easy to forget. This entire revolution, all of that incredible AI software, it doesn't just run on magic. It runs on hardware. Specifically, it needs a crazy amount of super powerful, specialized memory chips. And that physical foundation, that's where our story really begins.
So how did we get here? Just over a year ago, the memory market was actually in a slump. Today, it's an absolute feeding frenzy. So this first part is all about that spark that lit the fuse, a shortage that is totally unprecedented.
This quote sounds like something out of a movie, but it perfectly captures what's happening. The biggest tech companies in the world are so desperate for these high-performance memory chips that they're basically telling the chip makers, forget the price, just get us the supply. We'll give you a blank check.
And that desperation, it has completely flipped this market on its head. We're now in what's called a supplier's market. You see, for years, the big tech buyers called the shots. They dictated the terms. Well, now the roles are totally reversed. The memory producers, the suppliers, they're the ones holding all the cards now. They name the price because they have the one thing everyone needs.
And here's what that power shift looks like in real dollars. If a company needs what's called high bandwidth memory, or HBM, and that's the really good stuff, the super fast memory that's essential for AI, and they need it right now, they might have to pay a premium of up to 50%. 50. That's just the price of admission to the AI party these days.
So a gold rush like this is, of course, going to set the stage for an epic corporate showdown. The entire industry is watching as two absolute giants of the memory world, Samsung and SK Hynix, go head-to-head to dominate this new era. And they're both playing a totally different game. SK Hynix, they were the pioneer. They saw this HBM opportunity early, moved fast, and became NVIDIA's go-to partner, which gave them a huge head start. Samsung, on the other hand, the longtime king of memory, they're playing the all-arounder. They're the only company on Earth that can offer a one-stop solution. They can design the logic chip, make the memory, and package it all together themselves. The whole shebang.
Now, for a little while, it really did look like SK Hynix had just run away with the whole market. But that is changing, and it's changing fast. This quote, Samsung is back. This is the buzz you're hearing from their biggest customers. That all-in-one approach is starting to pay off big time, and they are closing the gap.
Okay, so let's look at the numbers. This is the projected breakdown for the next generation of AI hardware. As you can see, SK Hynix is still expected to have a commanding lead, no doubt about it. But look at Samsung. They are poised to grab a massive 30% chunk of this market. This isn't a one-horse race anymore. It's a real rivalry.
So how exactly are they pulling this off? Well, first, that one-stop solution is a massive advantage for customers. Second, it turns out AI isn't only about HBM anymore. Other kinds of memory, like the low-power LPDDR you find in your phone or the super-fast GDDR from gaming cards, are getting pulled into AI systems. And guess who dominates those markets? Samsung. And finally, just sheer scale. Samsung is building P5, which is going to be the world's largest semiconductor factory, a colossal investment designed to simply outproduce everyone else.
Okay, so let's shift gears and look a little further out. Because while this battle is raging, there's a much bigger challenge looming on the horizon. There's this fundamental conflict brewing between the wild, boundless ambitions of AI and the physical, real-world limits of manufacturing. And it is all pointing toward a critical inflection point right around 2028.
And here is the core of the problem. You've got AI labs planning new software for 2030 and beyond, and they're just assuming that computing power is going to keep growing like crazy. But on the hardware side, the people who actually make the chips, their roadmaps show that the growth rate of production is actually going to slow down after 2025. You see the issue? The demand curve and the supply curve are heading for a collision.
And the stakes here are just massive. To give you a sense of the scale we're talking about, analysts are projecting that by 2028, the market for HBM, just HBM alone, will be worth over $100 billion. To put that in perspective, that one specialized type of memory will be a bigger market than the entire general-purpose memory market is today.
This timeline really shows how we're going to get there. Right now, in 2025, we're in the middle of this huge funding rush for new AI data centers. but it takes years to build this stuff. So by 2027, the first wave of new memory factories will just be starting to come online. And then comes 2028. All those projects that got funded back in 2025 will suddenly be ready to buy their chips, all at the exact same time, crashing into a supply chain that hasn't grown nearly fast enough. That right there, that is the great bottleneck.
Which, of course, leads us to the final billion-dollar question that everybody in tech and on Wall Street is asking. Is this the beginning of a long, sustainable boom for the industry, or is it a classic speculative bubble that is just destined to pop?
Now, the argument for a long-term boom is pretty compelling. Some analysts think this cycle could last for 10 or more quarters, and that's way longer than the historical average of 7 or 8. The thinking is that AI isn't just another product cycle. It's a completely new, structural source of demand that we've never seen before, and it could support a much longer period of growth.
But there is another, much more cautious way to look at this. History has shown us time and again that when a market boom starts this fast, this frantically, fueled by blank check desperation and promises of a far-off future, the downturn can be just as dramatic. When the beginning is this spectacular, the end is rarely clean. So that's where we are. We have a collision coming. It's a collision between supply and demand, between the pioneers and the established giants, and between the dream of a long-term boom and the fear of a bubble. The big question is, when all the dust finally settles on this AI memory gold rush, who is going to be left standing?
So, what should you be watching as this whole story unfolds? Well, keep an eye on the pace of new factory construction, like Samsung's P5. Pay attention to who has the bargaining power. Is it the chip makers or their big customers? Watch for the growth of those other AI memory types, LPDDR and GDDR. And of course, see who giants like NVIDIA and Google ultimately choose as their key suppliers. And finally, keep an eye on interest rates because they're what's funding this whole gold rush. The future of AI is being built on these tiny, incredibly complex chips, and now you know exactly what to look for. Thanks for joining.